This week on the Steel Report.
We come alongside these young men, mentoring them in most cases, whereby we can help them become better dads.
Some life options for young and expecting moms and dads through the Alternatives Pregnancy Center in Waterloo. Plus,
homeowner, yes! Yay!
It's Project Home, the new home ownership initiative from the 24/7 Black Leadership Consortium. And our program begins right now.
Now from KWWL, this is the Steel Report.
And right now here on the Steel Report, I want to welcome to the program for the very first time. This is our guest today, Mike Hewitt. And Mike works for the Alternatives Pregnancy Center in Waterloo and is a coordinator for the fatherhood program there, Mike. So let's begin with that. What exactly is the fatherhood program? Because we've had your executive director, Megan Ethiaraga, on the program a few times earlier as she talks about the overall things that Alternatives Pregnancy Center does in Waterloo. What's the fatherhood initiative of this part?
Well, Ron, thank you first off for allowing me the opportunity to share a little more about what we do, not only at the Pregnancy Center, but as it evolves into All Pro Dad. Our Practical Fatherhood program kind of piggybacks what we do for the women. We offer educational programming for our fathers. They come in during an unplanned pregnancy, as you might expect, and we meet one-on-one with our clients, usually for an hour. We'll share things about life and things that may be going on in their personal lives along with their children or prospective children's lives. And then we'll talk about certain aspects of pregnancy and more specifically what being a good father means. And as our fatherhood champion and the rest of our male advocates, we come alongside these young men, mentoring them in most cases, whereby we can help them become better dads. And in some cases, we're talking about young men who are 15 years old. So they know very little about being a dad. And as we work with these young men and help them become better dads, we develop a relationship. In many cases, we meet with this young man basically at the beginning of their pregnancy, maybe 10, 12 weeks into the pregnancy, up until the baby's a year old. So over the course of a year and a half, we're given the opportunity to develop that relationship. And being a faith-based organization, Ron, we're given the opportunity to share our faith as it's appropriate with our clients and help them understand what that maybe better outlook on life means and to give them a purpose. And sometimes it comes as a surprise, sometimes it's a very fulfilling thing, and it certainly is very fulfilling for me. So from that foundation, we then started about a year and a half ago, All Pro Dad. It's a chapter that allows men to meet with their children to come into the center. We'll meet for an hour and a half, and we'll talk about subjects like leadership, responsibility, what's it like to be responsible in a parenting child atmosphere. And dads are very encouraged to bring their children. We've got one of our clients, now All Pro Dad, got a 15-year-old all the way down to a year-old child. And it's so encouraging to see these young men share with other dads and how being a dad really, what that really means.
You know, the thing about it is Alternative Pregnancy Center, when you think of that, you think mainly of the mom. I mean, that's the thing. I think you think, oh, what are we going to do for her? But you bring them together, both mom and dad, as part of this program, right? I mean, you're focusing on the dads, but there's the mom and the child and the father now that you're trying to help as well.
Ron, that's an excellent point. We will meet one-on-one, whether it's a female advocate with a female client or a male advocate with a male client. And there are certain topics that we'll meet together. We talk about CPR training or something that's, of course, relatable, but guys aren't real good at opening up. I don't know if you knew that, Ron, but sometimes it's hard to talk about life and maybe the shortcomings of being a father. So yes, along with our parenting program for women, we very much do the same thing with our dads.
As I understand that this is a free program, right?
That's exactly right.
So that free program, did you hear that out there? Take advantage of it, right? I mean, it's there to help families, particularly the All-Pro Dad, the dads, and that goes back to the National Football League, doesn't it? Why don't you tell a little bit about the All-Pro Dad, how it got its origin? Yeah.
Well, about 25 years ago, Tony Dungy became part of the All-Pro Dad program with an effort at encouraging not only his professional athletes to become better fathers, but to be part of a program that allows young men and their kids to be part of an organization that, who doesn't like the NFL? And Tony Dungy has done just an incredible job being part of and encouraging young men and their children to be involved. And we get a daily email. It's called Play of the Day, and it allows dads to, again, further dig into topics like leadership and responsibility and being an honest father. So, yeah, Tony Dungy's involvement is instrumental in the success. There are just shy of 1,500 chapters in 40 states across the United States. And here in Iowa, there are actually only 2 chapters. And so starting one here in Waterloo was not only a privilege, but something that we are really in need of, to encourage our fathers in the Waterloo and the Cedar Valley to get involved. And initially we wanted to use the program to launch with our clients, but we're now offering it to the entire Cedar Valley. So anyone, Ron, that wants to be part of All Pro Dad, again, your point's well taken. All of our services, both at the center and through All Pro Dad, are free of charge to our clients.
That's fantastic. Now, I also understand that sometimes you think of the All-Pro Dad being in the school system, so why did Alternatives decide to make it part of their program?
Selfishly, I wanted to continue to develop relationship with these young men. And so it was, Megan had felt this was a perfect fit to continue the relationship with our clients at the center. And it's just a perfect environment because, again, so many of our clients come from broken homes. They want to break that traditional obstacle that All Pro Dad will help them along the way. And as we meet month after month and our children continue to grow, and our kids have a bad habit of growing up now, don't they, Ron?
Yeah, I wish they didn't. But
and before we know it, you know, they're out in the world, and now children have their own children. So it's a tremendous opportunity to get involved in the Cedar Valley. We would welcome any young man that would love to be part of All Pro Dad. We meet the 3rd Saturday of every month, 10 a.m. at our location on Decathlon Drive in Waterloo.
So let's say we've seen the phone number up here a couple of times during the interview already, Mike. So let's give people an example of, they make that phone call, what's the next step for them then? What are you going to tell them, and how will you move forward?
As far as All Pro Dad is concerned?
Exactly. Yeah. We'll go back, we'll get the women involved in this, the moms in a moment, but let's start with the All Pro Dad side of it, yes.
It's an open invitation. They'll come to the center. We welcome them, get a chance to sign up so that they can receive their daily emails. And from there, we'll sit down, we again talk about life for a few minutes, and then we'll pick on the topic that, let's just say it's honesty that we're going to talk about. And we'll show a short video, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, with our group of dads. And then the kids get a chance to interact with their dads. Dad, I see you being honest in this way. Son, I see you being honest in that way. So it's, honestly, Ron, it's a simple matter of showing up at 10 o'clock on the 3rd Saturday of the month. Okay. There's not a lot involved in it.
Okay, now I mentioned we've had Megan Ethiaraga, your executive director, on the program before, talking about Alternatives Pregnancy Center. For the young moms that may find themselves pregnant, there are a lot of decisions have to be made. They're probably thinking, should I have an abortion? What should I do? What can Alternative? You're going to talk them out of that, aren't you? You're going to try to anyway.
We will do our very best, Ron, yes. Because meeting with our nurse allows that opportunity for a young woman as she comes in contemplating whether to carry the baby or to give the baby up for adoption or abortion. And once that young woman sees an image on an ultrasound, 90+% of the time she'll choose life. And as being a faith-based organization, as we've already mentioned, we take the life of the unborn baby very seriously. So we certainly encourage that young couple to carry. Our parenting classes offer further support. And then we've got a baby store, Ron, that the young men and women get an opportunity to shop. And they can pick out baby clothes and diapers and wipes, whatever their needs are. And this occurs every 2 weeks for both the men and the women. So it's an opportunity. And then should there be a need for referral, a young couple needs housing, we have many, many organizations within the Cedar Valley that we're allowing connection with so that we can help our young couples.
And one of the things that we've talked about before, it's confidentiality is so important. And there's no shame in this. You're not shaming anyone. You are giving them information, facts about, if you do this, this is what will happen. If you do this, just talk a little bit more about that. What do you talk about to the young mom or the expecting mom about what may happen in her life?
Well, Ron, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but the media kind of paints this picture of how wonderful certain decisions are as we choose life and encourage that young woman to choose life. We give her the tools to be able to do that, not only through education, which is a huge part of it, but we do our best to set an example. Should there be opportunity, we'll get them connected with, again, a service, a church in the Cedar Valley that they might find themselves to be continually encouraged along their path. But as a young man or a young woman, this could be the most difficult decision they'll ever make in their life. And to make this an encouraging and exciting, the most important decision they'll ever make in their life is incredibly fulfilling for all of us as advocates.
Yeah, so you're not pressuring anyone, you're not shaming them, you're just saying, listen, this, as you mentioned, this is the most important decision in your life so far. You want to make sure they make the right decision. The same way with the dads, you just are encouraging these fathers to be the best fathers they can possibly be. And fatherhood is not that easy. There are so many different things that happen through the course of the roller coaster of life. This is what you're trying to do, just help both sides, the mom and the dad, and even the grandparents probably, I assume, the extended family.
Well, Ron, you make another excellent point in that we can see a young woman come into the center either by herself, with a partner, many times they're not married, or with a mom or a grandmother, because that's the only support system they've got. Young men, young women that come in from out of state, they have no support system whatsoever. So we're not trying to be a substitute in any way, shape, or form, but to be an example as a father figure with our young men, or a mother figure with our female advocates. So as we come alongside of them and set an example, we see growth. And we don't always just see this couple once. And that in and of itself, we have no way of knowing if a client comes in for one time or we see them for a year and a half. And then maybe 6 months later, they come in with their second baby. And we get to do this all over again. So, Ron, we're not only located here in Waterloo, but we've got satellite facilities as well. One in Waverly. We're open on Friday afternoons. We've got a satellite location in Cedar Falls on campus at UNI, Tuesday afternoons. And then by appointment only, we've got a satellite location in Eldora. So we're doing our best to grow not only our footprint here in the Waterloo and the Cedar Valley, but across the state, because there's no boundaries when it comes to getting pregnant. And as we see this growth, it's encouraging. And Ron, you know this, but we've been in the Waterloo area for over 30 years and a proud nonprofit in the Cedar Valley.
When a young woman makes that call to alternatives, what happens then? How does that work for them so they're not afraid? They kind of know a little bit about what's going to happen when they come in to see you.
Normally a phone call is made saying, can I come in for a pregnancy test, or can I come in for an ultrasound? We'll set up an appointment, typically with our RN initially, because it's a pregnancy test or an ultrasound. And from there is when we can expose what we do with our parenting program. So it's a simple phone call, make an appointment Monday through Thursday. We're closed on Friday. And from there, we'll meet one-on-one. Again, our appointments are held in the highest confidence. Only with our STD testing for men and women is that shared with the state. That's a requirement. Otherwise, everything we do and everything we talk about is held in the strictest confidence. So that appointment's made, they come in, we meet, and hopefully we can transition into our parenting program.
You just mentioned 2 or 3 of them right there, but you do offer a number of services, right?
We certainly do. Not only our STD testing for men and women, our pregnancy testing and ultrasounds for our women, but our parenting program. So I'm not going to say any one is more important than another, but the longer duration would be our parenting education program, which for the men, again, would hopefully, ideally evolve into our All Pro Dad program.
Okay. So before we wrap things up here, Mike, I want you to kind of look into your camera there and just talk to a young father or a young father-to-be and a young mother-to-be and tell them why they probably need to make that call to Alternatives Pregnancy in Waterloo.
We know that this is a difficult decision for you. Maybe the most important decision you ever make in your life. Life is important. The unborn child is so very important. We're made in God's image, every one of us, even that unborn child. We would love to come alongside of you to help you make the right decision to choose life. And as we come alongside of you to help you as a young man or a young woman anywhere in the Cedar Valley, we'd love to be part of your life, to help you become a better parent along the way. And as we look back, and there's nothing more fulfilling than to see a child that has been born as a result of what we've done at the center, and years later say, this is an Alternatives baby. That is so exciting and so fulfilling, and I'm so proud to be part of the Alternatives Pregnancy Center as our fatherhood champion. And Ron, thank you again for allowing me this opportunity.
Mike Hewitt, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Again, check out their website, the phone number that we've had on the screen. And Mike, come back again, talk more down the road about what you're doing there as the fatherhood coordinator and also All Pro Dad captain for the Waterloo chapter. Really appreciate that.
Thank you very much, Ron. I appreciate it very much.
All right, more coming up on the Steel Report in just a moment.
Homeowner, yes! Yes!
But right now, I have 3 guests here to talk about kind of a follow-up to the organization that we've been following the last several years called 24/7 Black Leadership Advancement Consortium right here in the Cedar Valley, the work that they've been up to over the last 3 or 4 years. We'll be talking about that. But first, let's meet our guests right now. Welcome back to the program. This is Sharina Salas, a co-founder, board member, and current president of 24/7 Black, the 24/7 Black Leadership Advancement Consortium that we've had on the program several times. Sharina, welcome back to the show. She's also been a long time, by the way, a campaign manager, I should point out, for Waterloo Mayor Quentin Hart. Also, please welcome Madeline Ridgway. Madeline is the executive director of 24/7 Black. And also, please welcome to the program for the first time, this is Jody Cook, who's about to move in to her new home. It's newly renovated home, beautiful home over on Walnut Street. By the way, Jody is a school social worker for the Waverly Shell Rock Community School District. So Sharina, let's begin with you because you're one of the co-founders of 24/7 Black. Tell everybody about how this came about following that kind of scathing report, 24/7 Wall Street, that really was not very favorable to the city of Waterloo. So what did you decide to do about that?
Yeah, we launched back in May of 2020 when the pandemic happened, and it was an alarming report, right? It was talking about several indicators that Waterloo was the #1 worst place for Black people to live. And so we just really came together thinking that we could do something about the indicators that was on that report and reduce them. One of them was home ownership. And back then we had our co-founder, Robert Smith, who talked about the home ownership and the importance of building wealth in the Black community would start with homes. And so we decided that we would launch a home program in 2022, and here we are today.
I always like to see what you're up to. So Madeline Ridgway, you're the executive director. How long have you been with 24/7 Blac? What is your role, and how do you think the progress is enough progress being made?
Well, I started out as a board member in September of 2022, and then came on as interim executive director in December of last year, so about a year ago, and then full-time in June of this year.
How would you describe what we're here to talk about?
Yeah, so this is simply a housing initiative, and we know the reason why people are not able to get a home is because of having to secure that down payment money, right? Having to save for 20% can be a barrier for individuals to get into their home. So this is a program that we specifically created that we would provide a little bit of down payment assistance to match whatever homeowners have saved, and also other programs that they may qualify for, and put that money towards purchasing a home.
As we tape this interview, you're just a day or so away from closing on your home over on Walnut Street. How did you approach, or were you approached by 24/7 Blac to get involved in this?
I got involved because my daughter and I were talking about home ownership, and I said, you know, her name is Sierra. I said, you know, Sierra, I would like to take some classes on home ownership. So she encouraged me to get involved with 24/7 Blac, and I did just that.
So let's talk a little bit about the partners that you have. And Tarina, you mentioned one that's been a big partner for a lot of people here in this area, the Otto Scheuitz Foundation, and then of course Habitat for Humanity. You're working closely with them, right?
Yeah, Otto Scheuitz was one of the initial primary funders to fund our home ownership program, and they walked alongside us. They really listened to the needs of the community, allowed us to lead in this space, and they supported us by providing us with a grant.
So the other area that we primarily focus on is entrepreneurship. So as of tomorrow, we will graduate almost 79 entrepreneurs out of the Blac Business Entrepreneur Accelerator.
Homeowner, yes! Yay!
Jody, can you be a role model for other potential homeowners? Is that the way you view this?
Absolutely, Ron. You know, it's hard work, but it's true work, and it's honest work, and not only that, it helps you grow into knowing how to become a homeowner. And the classes I took, they were very, very informational, and so the fun part began when I went to look for a home, and that can be also grueling. You know, you see a home, you see some things you don't like, but however, I found a home and I fell in love with it, and I'm so thankful for 24/7 Blac for the perks that they offer us as, you know, homeowners to, you know, use for down payments, you know, and closing costs, and that helps out a lot.
Yeah, it really is a beautiful home. Habitat for Humanity has done a number of homes in this area, and you're working with them.
We are working with them. We are in a new collaboration with Habitat for Humanity, House of Hope, Viridian Credit Union.
We help bridge the gap for our community members that want to buy a home, and are at different steps in the process. So if someone is looking for temporary housing, they might go to House of Hope, and they come to 24/7 Blac, we'll direct them there. Or if they enter in there with Habitat, then they refer them also to our home program. So It really is a true collaboration.
What's the best way to reach you?
The best way would be to go onto our website, or they can certainly reach us by sending us an email at madeline@247blac.com, and she will respond within 24 to 48 hours. But do give us time to respond, though.
And a big thank you to Sharina, Madeline, and Jody for taking time to talk about the Project Home through 24/7 Blac. Jody has already closed on her home, and so far 57 participants have completed the Homebuyer Education Program. 14 Project Home participants have already closed on their homes over just the past 9 months. 60% of the participants have started a savings account toward home ownership, and the average home selling price for the 24/7 Blac program has been $150,000, resulting in $2 million in new home purchases right here in the Cedar Valley. We'll wrap things up in just a moment. And welcome back as we wrap up this week's edition of the Steele Report. Of course, be sure to check out both the Alternatives Pregnancy Center website in Waterloo and the 24/7 Blac Project Homeownership Initiative. These are two great local nonprofits right here in the Cedar Valley, standing by to help. That's it for this week. As always, thanks for watching.